Hi everyone, Professor Gustin here. We're in human biology and we're on tissues, organ systems, and homeostasis. And for some reason, just getting started sometimes. The first one doesn't want to go. Oh, there we go. All right. So here we are. And this is something that should look familiar to you. The learning outcome is understand where tissues relate in the biological levels of organization. Remember, we were looking at the levels of organization of the whole human body. And we started off with atoms and molecules. And then we got to the 4 groups of macromolecules. Remember what those are? See if you can remember. Carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. And then we had the parts of the cells, things like mitochondria and ribosomes and whatnot, the organelles. And then we had cells. Remember, cells are the simplest unit of a living organism. And then when you have groups of similar cells performing a common function, you have tissues. And that's where we are right now. So this lecture, we're going to talk about tissues. And it's really the last of kind of the foundational lectures where we are talking about kind of the parts until we start getting into organs and organ systems and things getting building on all this information that I've been giving you. So we're going to talk about tissues. Just like there's 4 groups of organic molecules, there actually are 4 classes of tissues. And so your first job is to remember the 4 classes of tissues and just be able to state clearly how each is different. So the first class I have are connective tissues, and they bind and support the body parts. They hold things together, they fill in spaces, they provide cushioning. So these are called connective tissues. In the subsequent lectures, we're going to expand on each one of these. So we'll talk a lot more about connective tissues. Muscular tissue is the tissue that moves. And you might call it contractile tissue. So muscular tissue is the only tissue that actually is going to be moving itself and as a result moving the body parts. Nervous tissue conducts nervous impulses, and it's really important for communication. So we're going to use these nervous impulses, these electrical currents, to be able to communicate from our head to our toe. And finally, the 4th type are epithelial tissue. Epi means on the surface. Epi. So epithelial tissues are the tissues that cover body surfaces. And the one thing I'm going to remind you is, and we automatically think of skin. So skin is an epithelial tissue. But what I want to remind you is you also have surfaces inside the bodies. Inside of the body, the surface of the heart, the surface of the intestines, the inside surface of the body cavity. So we have a lot of different kinds of epithelial tissues, and we will expand on those too. So there's a good check your progress, and you should be able to do this. Remember, these check your progress activities are in your textbook. So if you go to the reading, you can find these, and when you click on them, they tell you the answers.